Hello, hello, hello. Welcome all to what I've finally named Work in Progress. This is what my weekly update thing is, and Work in Progress just seemed like a name that made sense to me. It made sense for this, for what it is. It's a weekly update with what I've been playing, what I'm currently thinking of it, any potential future video ideas, and just sort of working through some ideas in general. My name is Billy and this is Diginauts, and this is, well, it's Friday. It's Friday, and it's Friday the 27th, which means something quite particular at the moment. It means we've had a hell of a week for game releases. And I'm going to cover the three that I've put a tiny amount in. So, first game I've been playing is Destiny 2. Destiny 2. I finished it. Well, I finished part of it. Destiny 2 is a game, it's a loot game. That's the main mechanic, is to sort of keep you coming back, gaining loot, and to continue sort of grinding for it, shooting people, killing people, and also doing getting powered up to do the end game raids, which is something I want to do in the end possibly, but I've got other things to play. But that means that, well, that was basically the core of the first game. It was just that loot grind. It was just, that was all that was out there. That's all you had available. Whereas Destiny 2 actually implemented a story of sorts. A lot of it's kind of just like you go to a new area, you do several missions. It's very MMO-y in a lot of ways. You know, there's other players around there, but it's a bit more highly scripted in places. But I finished it, the story anyway, and actually, I can see what a lot of people say about that game. The shooting is damn good. By the way, the reason it's taken me so long to play this game is because it only came out on Tuesday for the PC. I don't have PlayStation or anything like that, so PC was my option. But yeah, the shooting's damn good in that game. The headshots, it gives you just enough feedback to get a good feeling from it and a good kick from it. The combat, it's kind of dynamic enough that you have to kind of think about what you're doing and be working on your toes in the certain moments anyway so far. The only issue I've had really with it is I did all the adventures up to a point, sort of 10 hours in or so. I did basically, when you come across the map, you come across like these stalls, and you'll find an adventure and you'll go off and do it, and it'll be like a little linear scripted sequence of events that you'll get a bit of loot at the end and you'll get a bit of story as well. And I did all of them up to a point, and I just realised like the recommended power level, which is kind of like your item level averaged out, the recommended power level was like 90, and I was hitting 120, 130, and by the end I was like a good chunk of power level above what I needed to be to actually do the missions, which led them to be a little bit easy towards the end. And the moments where that game's done really well for me is when the difficulty was actually a bit harder. It's sort of when you've had to keep thinking and it was kind of a bit more nail biting, but as soon as it came to the moments that were easier moments, once I was powered up, it just became a lot easier all in all. But that's not really what I want to cover about the game. That game's kind of, that's been talked about, that's been discussed. People know what Destiny is in that respect, and I don't feel like I can add too much more to that. The part I actually want to discuss is its skyboxes. Yes, I know, something that has been talked about before, but it's something that it drew me in again and again and again as I was playing the game and then going through the different environments with these like gorgeous, lavish skyboxes. And in the end, they actually were a key component to telling the narrative. You know, each area, it would have something off in the distance that meant something to the story, or would have something happening in the distance. And I prefer games that are more interactive, but I can be taken in by this at the same time. So I sort of want to discuss like a journey through these like areas and the places that you're a part of. Because, for instance, like Warframe is a game I put about 20-30 hours into it, and that's a loot grind game, but that is just loot grind. It does a story mission maybe once every 10 hours or something. And in the end, I just fell off it. I got bored, you know, that I could really see the grind in front of me, and I can see that coming with Destiny 2 as well. But currently, I've had like beautiful locations that have changed every sort of 4 to 4 hours, everywhere from an hour to a couple of hours to change environment. So it never got too stale and repetitive. You know, I was always fighting in a new area. There was an upgraded enemy. There was a new gun. There was something changing, and that's something that Warframe kind of actually lacked. Is to get the better guns, you really had to grind out for hours. So the sense of progress was really slowed down, unless of course you spent some money. Whereas because this was like a story with the environments changing especially, it moved on through at a pace that was enjoyable. And the story's like complete bollocks in a lot of ways. It's typical space opera, you know. When I say a bit complete bollocks, I want to break that down a little bit actually, because playing it, it's sufficient. It does the job. It gets you where you need to go. It has characterizations, and you just get on through it, and it's fun. It's as I say, it's a space opera. You know, really sort of reminiscent of these over-the-top, over-dramatic sort of scenes in a StarCraft or something like that. And it's something that I want to go back and play Mass Effect for, because in my head, Mass Effect's this brilliant, well thought out, in-depth story, but was it just like this ridiculous space opera? I can't remember, so we'll find out. Yeah, so I was quite happy because I got Destiny finished up last night, story-wise. I know I've got a lot of grinding to get ahead and try and find a group for the raid and stuff like that. But I can sort of put a stop in it right now because I can let other people do the raid. I'm not fussed about doing it. I want to experience it, but I'm not fussed about being the first person out there doing it, especially with it already being out on console. But I do want to find a group in the end and sort of see it for myself. And maybe do some content on that. But it sort of left me finishing off the story in quite a nice place because I tidied up with everything I needed to do about 12 o'clock last night. It's like, sweet, it's Friday. So it's Friday the 27th, as I said earlier. And the other reason that's important is because so far we've had Destiny 2 released this week, which is a game which I've heard people regularly put 60 to 80 hours into. Then today I had Wolfenstein 2 released, which I imagine, at a guess, it's going to be 10 to 20 hours. So, not a small game, but not a massive game, and I'll go into talking about that in a second. And Super Mario Odyssey came out today, which I'm hearing people are putting 60 plus hours into. And the new Assassin's Creed, which they've actually taken a fucking break for, and I want to play. But that's going to be the next part of my video. So, like, what you've seen in the background right now has been Destiny 2. And that is going to have a cut in 1 second, and I'm going to move on to Wolfenstein next, and after that Super Mario Odyssey. Now, I will preface the end of this section with saying I've played an hour of Wolfenstein, so the video in the background is not going to be any further than that, and I'll try and just keep it to the content sections so nothing's getting spoiled. And I've played 40 minutes of Super Mario Odyssey. There is 1 or 2 set pieces in there, but I'll try again keep the content in the background spoiler free. But if you are looking at picking up both of these games, then you'll see a bit of gameplay, you'll see a bit of very early story stuff at maximum, but everything else from that point in, you know, it's an hour, so I'm not jumping really far ahead and telling you shit, which I feel like it's the right way to go about this. So I'm going to put a break in 1 second and be back with some Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein. First one was a really good game, isn't it? One I really enjoyed anyway. But the second one, again, released today, and I was quite pumped to put it on. I was looking forward to listening to some Mick Gordon music and kill some Nazis. I'm not sure right now what I'm going to do a video on, so I'm not sure where to break apart sort of what's happening in the game, apart from to say it is just more Wolfenstein. The graphics are looking definitely nicer, and I have to say the music, which again Mick Gordon did, Doom and the previous Wolfenstein I think, and Prey, he's kind of like the Bethesda dude at the moment. I really like his musical stuff. I have to say in this game so far it just feels like it's not kicked in at the right moment, which is something that Doom did so fucking well. You just sit there with a grin on your face, killing fucking fuckloads of things in front of you. Not with you know, having to be on your toes, having to be reactive to things, but the music would just kick in when it drops at the perfect moment, which it was fantastic about that game. And I kind of noticed that missing, but I don't want to. That might change as I get further in the game. And say I've played an hour so far, but yeah, you sort of continue the story as Blazkowicz, and right at the end of the game, basically, yeah, you get saved and you get a bit more of his background story, which I found interesting. I think the only thing that I can really point to at the moment that the developers have done exceedingly well is really got my back up against about certain things. So certain characters' portrayals right in the beginning are quite like aggressively bad, but you know that the developers want you to feel that way about them. They want you to hate them. They want to instill that sort of, you know, perspective about them to give you something to really latch onto and go forward. And I can sort of break it down and see that the developers, Machine Games, that's what they're doing. but it's getting at me, and I'm kind of like watching these scenes play out and going, okay, do you want to just give me a gun now, or, you know, next couple of seconds so I can shoot them? No, obviously you go enjoy this out for the rest of the game, but still, I like it a lot. The moments in that game when you pick up 2 guns have always been exceedingly good as well, because it's just like, some ammo on the floor, okay, I'll pick up another gun, pick up that ammo, you know, it comes as portrayed as a gun. Oh, dual wield? But I'm carrying an assault rifle. Oh, okay. So that's this sort of game. So I'm looking forward to see what this game sort of entails. I don't really know how to cover it on my channel, because the way we do things on here is quite particular. You know, it's sort of diving into particular aspects of games and talking about particular things. And so far, I'll be honest, I don't really want to go down the political front, because I feel like people who are better read and probably have a more well thought out point can speak to that better than I can. So that sort of leaves a mechanical level, which I think is relevant with that game, certainly, because there's a lot to the way the mechanics work. And then there's sort of it's quite cinematic in it, and perhaps there's something worth talking about as to like the characters and, you know, how they actually develop quite well for what is essentially a game about just killing Nazis. You know, they've really done good on the story in the previous one anyway, so we'll see how this one holds out. But I'm looking forward to playing some more. Sort of, yeah, another point to this is I'm doing this work in progress every week, and it's going to be a random day. It's not going to be a set day. It's going to be as and when I've progressed some work. So my next video I probably will have completed this game and probably have some more thoughts and more stuff to discuss about it, but that's its few minutes. Next, as I say, will be Super Mario Odyssey. Again, some spoilers to what happens in the first 30-40 minutes, but I'm going to try to avoid the story stuff and the set pieces in the video in the background. So, yeah, 1 second. So lastly, that brings us to Super Mario Odyssey. Again, I put in this game for, let's say, 30-40 minutes. I've just said this, but I put in the game for 30-40 minutes, was like, okay, sweet, I just want to get a bit of footage captured for the background of this video, really, and just to get a quick taste of what this game's about before I go back and finish Wolfenstein, because I believe that's going to be a shorter game, so I want to finish up. With it first, because I'll be able to come to a point first, and after playing 20-30 minutes, it's just like, I can see myself sitting here for a few days straight and playing this game. It's just joy to control. It's a joy to play through, like those initial sections, picking up the buttons again. Mario's just so expressive as a form of control, I suppose is the best way to talk about it. You know, you feel like you can immediately start coming at the levels in a way that suits yourself. You know, you can start, like, it's easy. You know, I've not found it difficult so far, which you don't expect in the first, which what you expect in the first 30-40 minutes of a Mario game. You don't expect it to be tough as hell, but you start, the difficulty comes from, like, okay, how can I be a bit quicker? How can I like, perfect my movement and jump in certain ways? And just the way Mario's created is just so suited to that. And that's probably the initial thing I've noticed with it. The other thing is, it just seems so joyous, just taking different parts from different Mario games, and actually has a real sense of humour about it, which is something that I couldn't say to previous Mario games. You know, just like you take over certain animals and stuff, you capture them with your cap, which is kind of like the key mechanic now. And they've got a fucking stupid little mustache on them, which is brilliant. It's just, it's cutesy, it's weird, it's funny, and I like it a lot. Which is what I feel like I'm going to be getting a lot from this game. I think it's sort of, as with all Mario games, it sort of has the premise where it can actually go anywhere with it in a lot of ways, which is cool, which is awesome. But I have a feeling that they've actually run with that in this game. So if you, like, think back to, 1 sec. So if you think back to previous Mario games, you've got Super Mario 64, which the worlds in that game feel like kind of disjointed in places. Some of them seem like well thought out concepts, but because of the power of the system and stuff, they can seem a bit disjointed and not fully sort of formed as ideas. And then you've got Super Mario Sunshine afterwards, which is actually more of like a realistic, when I say realistic setting, like the world makes its own internal logical sense. And then you go to the Galaxy games where you're hopping about and seeing different things all the time, which allowed it to be a bit more weird and wacky with it. But I don't think they ever... It was always within the realms of Mario. It was always like, oh, here's a piranha plant, here's, you know, Mario stuff. Whereas this game, yeah, it has got... I've seen a chain chomp so far, typical Mario thing. But I have a feeling the other stuff around the outside, they're more willing to go weird with it, which Mario deserves weird, and it's what I want it to be. And I have a feeling that this game is going to keep that sort of these places that you're exploring interesting and sort of wonderful and childlike in a lot of ways, and that's just interesting to me. And just like the way it asks you to start to learn areas and actually delve into how to get all of the power moons and things like that, I think is going to be really good. I think it's something really to look forward to. But anyway, that's probably enough on this, considering I only played 20 minutes and I've spoke about it for 4 minutes now, so it's amazing how much content you can get out of a small amount of playing. But that sort of leads me to say, yeah, I'm going to have another video of these coming up next week. It's definitely going to have Wolfenstein, some more thoughts on that, and maybe some more Odyssey, depending on what I play. But yeah, I'm going to go and play a shitload of video games. I've got some days off for this fucking four releases this week. I've took some days off for them. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to enjoy them and have some thoughts for you, maybe. Right. I think that'll be it. Peace. Oh yeah, go on my Twitter. Twitter's good. @TheDigitalShow. Bye.